Minimal lithium, most supplies come from Australia, Chile, or African nations like Zimbabwe and the DRC. No significant rare earths, these critical materials are dominated by China, but Africa particularly in east and central regions holds vast untapped reserves. Dependent bauxite supply, Guinea is the world's second largest producer, and a vital French partner. The image becomes clear, France is like a luxury car running on fuel siphoned from someone else's tank. That someone has been Africa. Africa has been to France what oil was to Saudi Arabia, said an unnamed former French diplomat. The difference is that Saudi Arabia owns its oil. France does not own Africa. And now, Africa wants out. The neocolonial pipeline. For decades, France sustained this illusion through a brutal system known as Franco-African neocolonial arrangement where African elites, often installed with French backing, granted favorable contracts and political loyalty in exchange for military protection and personal enrichment. It was a win-win for Paris and its clients. The losers. African people. The pattern repeated across former colonies. France provided military aid, anti-terror training, or infrastructure investment. In return, it gained access to critical minerals, control over exports, and influence over central banks through the CFA franc system, a colonial-era monetary structure still used by 14 African countries. The result was staggering asymmetry. France extracted billions annually from African economies through resource contracts. African countries remained locked in poverty, with GDPs lower than French suburbs. Dissenters like Thomas Sankara were silenced, often fatally. This system allowed France to maintain the illusion of independence, even as its industrial base relied more and more on African extraction. But illusions don't last forever. Traoré shatters the mirror. Enter Captain Ibrahim Traoré. In September 2022, amid growing public outrage over French influence, he seized power in Burkina Faso and declared war on neocolonialism. But this wasn't empty rhetoric. He acted decisively. French troops expelled. Mining contracts with French companies cancelled or reviewed. National sovereignty over resources reaffirmed. He wasn't alone. Traoré's rhetoric struck a nerve across the Sahel. Mali had already expelled French forces. Niger followed by kicking out French ambassadors and shutting off uranium exports. Chad and Guinea teeter on the brink of similar moves. For France, this isn't a geopolitical setback. It's a catastrophic unraveling. France never imagined a coordinated anti-colonial revolt in the 21st century, says Sarah Zubir, a French Algerian analyst. They underestimated the youth, the internet, and the memory of Sankara. Traoré is not just a cool leader, he's a reckoning. And he's pulling back the curtain on a lie Paris hoped the world would never see. France is not resource independent. It is a resource addicted.